Austin Gayle here with Mike Renner of Pro Football Focus, ready to talk draft needs in the NFC North. Starting with the Lions, where do they need to go?
Yeah, they need to have a bunch of needs on this roster, but mainly defensive side of the ball. Cornerback, we saw, they tried to address it with Tease Tabor a couple years ago. Has not worked out whatsoever for them. They need someone opposite Darius Slay. Darius Slay can't do it all on his own on the back end of that secondary. Continually torched in a Matt Patricia scheme, brought over the Bill Belichick scheme, a man coverage heavy scheme. You need 3-4 cornerbacks to be able to do all the things he wants to do defensively. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go to that position early and maybe even often in this draft.
I want to look more at that tight end position. The Lions don't want another Brandon Pettigrew. They don't want Eric Ebron. What are some names that actually make sense for them in this draft?
Yeah, I'm not sure that I would go, obviously, they're probably not going to go top 10 and go after that tight end position again. It would not make a lot of sense, but on the wrap, second round, third round, someone like Jay Sternberger from Texas A&M doesn't have the high-end athletic hype of an Eric Ebron, but has the production, has the receiving ability, is already a more polished prospect than probably Eric Ebron was coming out, who was all the potential and finally is realizing it, but elsewhere. So I think you get that guy who's ready to play from day one. That would be someone like Jay Sternberger.
Moving to the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers is still there, but he needs some help. Where do they need help?
Yeah, I think the receiver position, they could definitely add another one there. They really don't have much after Devontae Adams. He can't really do it all on his own. He tried to last season, but they needed either those young guys to step up or they could add another player to that mix, basically anywhere. First round, second round, third round, someone who can come in right away. I think you want a guy who's NFL ready with the way the window for the Packers is shaping up right now.
Receivers a need, but they also have some needs on the defensive side of the ball. Safety, linebacker, what are some names you like?
Yeah, safety, I don't think they're going to address that in the first round. The safety class just isn't that sort of talented, but at their first pick in the second round, or maybe even their later first-round pick if they want to trade back from there. Someone like Darnell Savage would pair perfectly at the free safety, or Nazir Adderley from Delaware. Perfectly free safety where you can let Adrian Amos play the strong safety sort of robber role. Getting the center fielder is what they're missing in that Packers defense.
I definitely love Darnell Savage. Great name, great player from Maryland. Very looking forward to that. Moving to the Chicago Bears, they have Khalil Mack, but they need someone opposite of him. They need another edge defender to rush the passer.
Yeah, this is the one where if you're the Bears, you have to say, we've made that Leonard Floyd pick in the top 10. It hasn't worked out, and you can't be too proud to admit a mistake and say, "Hey, we still need someone there." You can't just keep throwing him out there and getting no production while Khalil Mack commands double teams, snap in and snap out, and you get Leonard Floyd getting one-on-ones and not taking advantage of it. So I think just adding another one to that pass rushing mix for even third downs, if you just get a third down specialist.
Staying in the trenches, the Bears need help along the offensive line. Mitch Trubisky needs to stay upright. Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen need some more space. Talk to me about, specifically where they need help on the offensive line.
Yeah, I was going to say, so they just have some older tackles. Bobby Massey on the right side, probably not the long-term option there. And I think this is just indicative of how complete the Bears roster is at this moment. The fact that probably if they do draft along the offensive line, he's not going to come in and start right away, but you're drafting a guy. The best time to draft an offensive lineman is when you don't need one, when you can develop him for the future. So I think that would make sense for them in the mid-rounds, later rounds, to draft a developmental guy who can come in later, and so you don't have to be paying premium in free agency.
Speaking of offensive line help, the Minnesota Vikings need a ton of it. Talk to me about some names that fit there. Probably first round, maybe all rounds, I don't know.
Yeah, first round, second round, third round. I don't think you can draft too many offensive linemen. Cody Ford, I think, makes a lot of sense from Oklahoma. Could step in right away at guard. Now, he played right tackle at Oklahoma, but he fits their scheme in terms of a big, powerful run blocker and can hold his own in pass protection. I think he projects best to guard from any of the tackles in this class. I think Dalton Reisner from Kansas State would make a lot of sense as well. He's produced incredibly well in our system, so either of those two guys in the first round, I'd pencil a name in at offensive guard right now because that's how big of a need it is for the Minnesota Vikings. They're going to probably go there in the first round, could also do that in the second as well.
They could go offensive line with every pick, but they have needs elsewhere. Defensive interior, cornerback, talk to me about those needs and those fits.
Yeah, defensive interior, they need a 3 technique. Sheldon Richardson was that in their defense a season ago. He moves on to Cleveland. A little cash strap, can't get anyone to fill in that position. But again, it's a deep defensive line class, deep on the interior. I think you can get a guy day 2 or even day 3 who could step in and fill that role, not the way Sheldon Richardson did, but admirably as well. Someone who can get after the passer because they need to complete that defensive line. It took a little bit of a step back a season ago.
Absolutely. Well, there you have it. There are your needs for the NFC North. To see where your team is going to go in the draft, go ahead and subscribe to PFF's Edge or Elite subscription to get access to our 2019 NFL Draft Guide. This has been Mike Renner and Austin Gayle.